We focus today on Mary, Mother of the Savior. At La Salette, she speaks with a prophet's voice. If they are converted, rocks and stones will turn into heaps of wheat, and potatoes will be self-sown in the fields. Her hopeful message describes God's pleasure in the abundance that our Savior brings. So who is this woman we celebrate? She was the key player in a centuries-old drama that is still running its course. By holding to her words, "Let it be done to me according to your word," she turned history upside down. Her yes to God was not the stuttering response of insincerity, but rather a mature affirmation that cost her a lifetime of service. She was accepting and obedient, but future events would prove her gallant and aggressive too. Beginning with the birth of her son, she must be counted among the homeless of the world. She did not tie her boy to her apron strings and possessively hold on to him, yet her boy, though divine, was but clay in her sculptor's hands. From day one, she knew that many would try to rid themselves and the world of her son. She did not always understand her restless son, but she neither browbeat him nor crushed his dreams. She was not a contemplative nun. She was a full-time mother from early morning to late at night. She baked their bread each day and carried their water on her head in tall jars from a nearby spring. She studied his adventurous career with enthusiasm and endangered her own life by joining him on his times of preaching and teaching. His mission was doomed to failure, but she always sustained him. Her Magnificat, spoken as a girl, reveals even then that she was a revolutionary for the poor. The record will not allow her to be painted as a moderate. She was with her son when he was murdered and did not allow herself to be victimized by his assassins, nor did she blame God for the death of her son. After his ascension, she stood alone, but she remained undaunted. She said yes to life every step of the way. She needed no women's liberation. She was already free. She is the only woman in history to have appeared on the cover of Time magazine 11 times. The editors of Time called her the most celebrated woman who ever lived. By her willingness to hold all things in her heart, Mary becomes to Christians an inspiration of contemplation and reflection. She inspires us to consider deeply the significance of events rather than to go blandly through life without meaning or direction. She inspires us to constant reflection on the truths of faith that continue to be made real in life's experiences. She inspires us to fidelity in the practices of our faith, practices which are disciplines of souls that lead the community to a clearer focus on God's presence in human affairs. At La Salette, Our Lady's promises are of messianic extravagance. The gifts of God are always a sign of God himself. His presence in the gifts are always his greatest gift. The greatness of Mary is a reflection of the greatness of the Son of God whom she bore. In the Gospel, Mary's response to Elizabeth's greeting reveals her true understanding of herself as a humble servant. Instead of allowing Elizabeth to praise or to elevate her ego and sense of self-importance, Mary by nature proclaims the greatness of the Lord. She instinctively points to God, my Savior, directing all glory and credit to God. Not exaggerating her own recognition, celebrity, or future renown, but exercising humility by remaining true to her position of servanthood. She fully acknowledges that what matters is not what she has done or accomplished on her own, but what God has done for her. Even before the birth of Jesus, Mary is already living and modeling humility and servanthood. It's no wonder that Jesus not only shares this identical disposition, but he amplifies it by constantly giving credit for his power, glory, and wisdom to the Father. As a mother to us, Mary calls us to the same response, always to give credit to the genuine source, our God. Like Mary, we are called to be humble servants. Simply put, we are vehicles for the goodness of God made manifest, knowing always that we are not the source of the power, but the receivers of it.